morning. Happy Saturday. It is 8 a.m. here in Idaho Falls. Just going to hold tight real quick as you guys hop onto this little question and answer today with David Atkins and I. I'm going to watch for him to hop on. But as you hop on this video with me today, I'm going to ask you to do a couple things. Number one, comment below with where you live, okay? Where you're watching this video from. Number two, I want you to comment below with a question that you have. We're going to do the best to be able to answer that question for you. So, as we wait for David to hop on, for you guys to comment with where you're from. I see David's on. There he is. There you are. And I see a couple other people begin to hop on as well. So we're going to jump right into this because I want to be able to help answer your guys' questions, okay? So today, welcome everybody to the Hey Bro Show. This is episode 17, Rapid Fire Q&A with myself and also David Atkins. It's an honor for me to be here because I consider and look at David Atkins as one of my best friends. Even though we live all the way across the country from each other, we have each other's back in life and in business. And I'm super excited to see him coming up here shortly in London for the launch. But I'm going to introduce him, and then we can get started on this Q&A. So once again, if you're hopping on, be sure to answer or ask us a question. We have a couple questions that we saved that you guys have asked us, but if you pop one on there, you might have a chance of getting an answer today. So first of all, David Atkins, sporting the T25 shirt, is an 8-star diamond coach. He's a diamond in his second business center. He's a Success Club legend for over 70 months. He's a 2-time elite coach. He's a 6-figure earner, and he's the newest captain of the New York City Police. But first and foremost, he is a husband to Kristen and a father of 3 beautiful daughters and one of my best friends. So, David, I'm going to turn it over to you, brother.
Hey, my man. So, guys, I'm excited about this call. And Scotty threw out, let's do a rapid-fire Q&A. And I think it's great because I think a lot of people have so many questions with the business, with life. And I'll tell you, still have questions every day. And one thing I remember is they say, good leaders ask great questions. John Maxwell quote, which I think is so true. But let's talk about Scotty, who's a 14-star. Oh, my lab is about to knock my phone over. Sorry, dude, get away. 14-star diamond, 5-time elite coach, Success Club all-star legend. You really got to go in front of me right now. This is what I'm all right, buddy, chill out. I lost my train of thought. Success Club all-star legend, 5-time elite coach, 14-star diamond. I'm looking forward to seeing you, brother, in less than 2 weeks as we're going to be in London. But most importantly, he's a husband. He's a father of 5. And I just love the person he is. I can tell you guys, this has been a rough week in my life. For many reasons, and Scotty is one of the most disciplined people I know when it comes to family and business. And on the other night, I really appreciated in between him running around with kids, he knew I needed to just speak to him for a couple minutes, and he called me in the chaos and gave me like 3 minutes, which felt like 300 minutes when you need somebody's ear and a lending hand. And Scotty, I appreciate that. And guys, just to let you know the type of person he is, he's family, fitness first, friends first, and it really means a lot. He's just an unbelievable dude. So, Scotty, I'm going to kick it back to you to kick off the Q&A.
All right. So we asked the other day a couple questions on social media on different platforms, and I got some questions. So I personally picked one, and then if you guys ask a question, I'll be able to ask it or answer it for you guys. But the question I got was from Matt. Matt says, how do you attract new people? So I want you guys to know what I did. I know who Matt is. I've met Matt in person before. I follow Matt's on my Facebook page. From time to time, I see Matt show up on my Facebook feed. And I want you guys to remember, when we're teaching and sharing with you guys, we mean it. We have empathy for you guys. We want to help you guys make better decisions in your life and be able to accomplish the goals that you want. So I give a ton of value to Matt for asking this question. But what I did, instead of just do a generic, this is how I find and attract new people, I looked at, okay, I see Matt on my Facebook. What do I know about Matt? And so immediately I sat back. I thought, I know Matt is a religious guy. He posts some quotes about his spirituality, about his religion, and I know that he's doing. I can't remember. I didn't know immediately, but I knew he was doing P90X or P90X3. That's all I know about Matt. And Matt lives like 15 minutes away from me. But from the outside, that's the only thing I know about Matt. And so I want you guys to think about that. That's the only thing I know. And if I'm not into Facebook or into doing Beachbody workouts or building a business or any of these things, It's just another, to me, Matt, it's just another somebody posting spiritual quotes. That's all I see. Just a person posting spiritual quotes and some motivational personal development quotes, but with no actual meaning behind it on how it relates to your life or who you are as a person. So it's really hard in today's time to get attention or to capture someone's attention. And to be able to capture someone's attention, you need to seriously be able to connect with them, or they read something from you and they be like, something where I would be like, Matt, man, I've been through that too. Like, I'm facing that trial right now. What is it that you're doing to overcome that trial? So I took the pleasure this morning of scrolling through 2 weeks of Matt's posts. And Matt, for you on this instance, I scrolled through your posts, and you have a post up a day, because this is your question on how do I attract people. I don't know anything about you, nothing about you other than that you're doing a P90X workout, P90X3 workout, that you've tried P90X, but that's it. That's all I know about you. And I know that you listened to a semi-annual conference last Sunday, and that's it. But you didn't teach me how that conference impacted your life or help you through a struggle you're going through. You didn't teach me, or I don't have any understanding on how or why you're doing P90X, how you got started, why it's important to you, why it's important that you're finishing it. So if you want to begin to attract and find people, it's important that you are telling stories about your life, about what you're going through, struggles that you're going through, so that you can connect with somebody. So someone can look at you and say, David, man, I saw that you are struggling with this. You're having a little bit of a hard time with this. This is the actions that you're taking. I think I want to follow David and see what he's doing so that I can try that, see if it helps me out in my aspect of my life. So as I think about that, I think a lot of times I'm just going to answer this question and pass it back to David, because I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this. I think a lot of time we are looking at, you're trying to run a business, you're trying to help make an impact in this world, leave your mark, help people live a healthier, more fulfilling lifestyle. But I think we're looking at the world as we want it to be, or as we believed it to be in the past, or what we think it should be, instead of looking at the world as it actually is today, like what's happening actually today in this world. And just to give you a simple example, like David and I are close to the same age, mid 30s to almost 40. And guys, back in the day when we were kids, we played video games. Kids are like, you're wasting your time. You playing video games is going to be a waste of your life. But you look today, I know kids that play video games now today, teenage kids, early 20s, that play video games that make $8 million a year, talking about their video games on YouTube and having Google AdWords placed on their videos that have millions of views, selling merchandise or t-shirts or caps to these people that know about their life of playing video games and teaching the secrets and tips and how they do that. So it's the truth of today. And a lot of people don't want to accept that. Another one is Kylie Jenner was just paid $1.3 million to post a picture on Instagram for somebody. A business paid her $1.3 million because she has a huge fan base, because of what she does and how she uses social media. They paid her $1.3 million to put one picture on her social media. So as I look at this, guys, Matt, what I want you to do, David, everybody that's struggling with this in social media, and especially this show is for the men, is to, like, a lot of times we're not into social media, guys. That's what we say, or I don't use social media, or I'm not using social media very much. It's just to really understand, but that's the reality of today. My dad is 60. He uses social media. He uses Facebook. He posts YouTube videos. He watches YouTube videos, and all these things. That's the reality of what we do today. So you got to put your story in front of people, not just some quotes, not just that you're doing a workout, but actually like talk about your life, talk about what you're doing. So find people, whether it's Beachbody coaches, whether it's people outside of Beachbody that are crushing it on social media, whether it's Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or YouTube. See what they do, see how they portray their life, see how they talk, and then begin to emulate that with your own style. And guys, I want to be vulnerable with you guys. I have to continually adjust and adapt the way that I'm doing that today. Like I'm doing a daily family video log because I see people that share their family, or an individual that just documents their life, and people begin to follow them and they build a business out of it. So I'm doing that not to build like a separate business, but a way that I can attract people by showing who we actually are. Like for the first time, like I've never done anything really silly on Facebook other than put my pants on with no hands like 3 years ago. Like we're ending our life, and Gabby was filming me. We were at a stoplight. She pulled out the camera, and I was just dancing and trying to get the old guy in the car next to me at the stoplight to laugh. And I was like doing this dance to the, like, getting crazy. But that's how I am in real life when I'm with Gabby, with my family. So I'm just portraying who I am, my personality a little bit more. So look at your life, make sure that you're doing that, getting yourself out there, and realizing that it's going to take being more than posting inspirational quotes, being more than just posting your thoughts about the book you read, but actually like telling little bits of stories about you and who you are. Like if you look at David's page, you know who David is. You know what he does, you know what he goes through, you know his struggles, you know his triumphs, you know everything pretty much that he does. The same thing will go for me. So Matt out there, or anybody listening to this that's struggling to attract people, you can never attract people until you can stand out. And the only way to stand out is to be yourself and share what you're going through. So David, I'm going to pass it back to you, brother.
No, I appreciate it. And I want to add a nugget with that. I think most people, when it comes to posting, I want you guys to take, even though it's called a post, when I think of post, I think of like a Post-it sticky note, and it's supposed to be short to the point. And I want you to flip it upside down. I want you to ask yourself, instead of saying, what should I post today? I want you to ask yourself, what stories can I tell today? And I want you to share the story of what it is in your life, and space it out. Like if you look at Scotty's posts and my posts, let me give you a little tip. People today, and I learned this from Shailene Johnson, do not read left to right anymore. People are scrolling very fast. They read up and down. So if you go look at my post, I will write one line and then hit enter and have a whole space and then write another line, when if you were to go what we learned in high school, it should all be in the same paragraph. But if you write a long paragraph, people aren't reading that. But if you space it out quickly, they can read it and they can scan it because they read up and down. But don't ask yourself, what should I post right now? Ask yourself, what story can I share right now? You know, or what video can I share with your life? Because people don't connect to the facts, or people don't connect to the program, they connect to the story. And Gary Vaynerchuk says the best storyteller wins. So one question I saw that came up on my page, it's a very broad topic, but I want to apply it to what's going on in my life right now. And the question was, how do you become successful? I mean, that's such a broad question. But the thing that hit me real hard is that successful people do scary things. And what I mean by that is that we're willing to try things to learn to become better, knowing that we may fail, to know that this is what we need to do to take ourselves to the next level. And I think so many people, they let that stop them to become successful. So like right now in my life, there's two things that I started one in the last couple weeks and one in the past week. Number one is starting to do stories on Facebook, Messenger, and Instagram. I've never been a man of Instagram, but I know that's a big platform. And I know storytelling is big, and even now Facebook has stories and Messenger. So I'm starting to storytell my life. Quick little snippets. Kristen's starting to do it. I don't know really what I'm doing yet. I'm just documenting my life. And I know, but this is what's going on, and this is the place to be, so I'm willing to grow and learn. Is it scary? Yes. Am I making mistakes? Yes. Have I figured out how to have a call to action, how to get people to attract people? Not really. When I did do it right the first time, it bombed and stuff cut off, and everything got screwed up. So that's number one. A second thing that I'm doing, and I just did a video on my page about it, and I just started this week to help me with balance in my life, that I've learned that all high achievers, very successful people in this world, meditate. So like when somebody asks me, what is you have to do to be successful, you have to be willing to work with what you have, with where you are, and do something that scares you. Meditation scares me, right? It scared me. I think it's a little bit of ego, which men have to get out of the way of. I don't do this hokey pokey stuff. It's not for me. But if you think about your mind right now, you are constantly in transition of thinking what you need to do today, what's going on in your life right now. You're always forward thinking. Now, forward thinking to plan ahead to be successful is important, but always having your mind moving forward is not. So learning to meditate this week, and I got an app, and I'll tell you guys, it's called Calm, C-A-L-M. And I've been doing it every day this week for 10 minutes. And normally in the morning when I get up at 4:50, I would start checking my inbox. And I realized Brendan Bouchard told Kristen this past weekend that your inbox is somebody else's agenda. And that was a big aha moment for me. And instead, my morning is for my meditation, to focus on myself. And I'll say, as a male, I did it this week, and it's been great. But my point is that successful question so broad that I think that you just have to be willing to take where you are and do something that's scary with the position that you're in. And the other thing is that Kristen mentioned, because she got some questions on this, is personal development for people. A lot of people ask, to get to the next level, but it's the male ego again, that we're not willing to grow and we're not willing to learn. I can tell you, I read a book this week, The 4 Agreements, in 3 days. I can tell you that I'm reading High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard that was released. I pre-ordered it, that was released last week, and I'm diving into it because I want to be the best version of myself, and you need to be willing to grow. Like the person you are right now, guys, if you want to be successful, is not going to get you where you want to be tomorrow. So I haven't scanned the comments, Scotty, but that's my answers to that. I don't know if anything else came up. Otherwise, I have a good one for you.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions on there. So what do you have, man?
All right. So my question for you is, have you ever dealt with, because I know it's something I've dealt with, have you ever dealt with burnout?
Burnout. Yeah. As you asked that question, I'm thinking like the first thing I thought in that, like I didn't even think about myself when you asked that question. I thought about sports players, like ones that go on and live their career and continue to grow and improve and crush it in their field, and what those that like have like 3 or 4 successful seasons and then they seem to disappear, or they seem to be won out by other people. So I've definitely felt in my journey, I've been on this journey for 7 years now. And like when I say, have I ever dealt with burnout? Like, yes, I have dealt with burnout. There's times I felt burnt out. But there's things that I've done to not let that slip and to stay into a place where you burn out and then you lose complete momentum and you're gone. So, man, I didn't get the time to really think about this, but the first time I really started to feel a burnout was, and so this is one tip, was about 8 months into my journey. Actually, it wasn't that far in, but I was crushing it as far as staying committed to my workouts. I've been doing P90X for an entire year, and then I became a coach, and then 8 months in, I'm working 12-hour days. I'm raising my 3 little kids, ages 4, 2, and a newborn, while my wife's at work at night. And then I sit down every night at 8 to midnight, and I'm working. So I go to bed at midnight, wake up back up at 4:30, get to work at 5. So after 8 months of that, I felt extremely burnt out. And the main reason is because I hit my first goal. Like I hit my goal of matching my wife's income. So I knew that eventually I could bring her home. So I was no longer stressed about money. That was my why. My initial why of making enough money to replace my wife's income so she wouldn't have to work anymore. So after I hit that, like, because I believe that goal, that strong vision and why kept me energized through that time. So I never felt any sort of burnout, just doing it. Matched your income. Now I'm getting tired, right? And it's because I truly didn't have like another thing that was energizing me and that I could have visualized accomplishing. And I won't go into this story because I talked about it before, but I had the school bus moment like 8 months into my journey where I picked my daughter up from the school bus because I was homesick. And like I had this moment that just stopped me in my tracks. And I remember thinking, man, how many moments have I missed like this, working 12-hour days? Like I've never put my kids on the school bus. I've never gotten them off the school bus. I miss every activity. And so I got this bigger vision for my life of how can I experience more of that or not miss any more moments like this? And that's when my vision became greater. So now I'm re-energized, right? I had this new vision pulling me. But guys, shortly after that, 14 months later, I continued to work, develop myself, grow myself, and I built a 6-figure income. Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income. Every Beachbody coach's income is a direct reflection of their efforts, diligence, and skill. But at 14 months, I had $2,000 a week income. And that tripled what I made at my full-time job. So we walked away from my full-time job. Now I'm beginning to work, and I get burnt out. And it happens a couple times, like a quick burnout. And I think one of the most important things is understanding human behavior in building this business. And the first human behavior to understand is yours. Like your personal human behavior, how you react to things, how you're feeling, what you're feeling inside of you, what you're accepting is to be true about yourself. And so one thing that I do, and I'm not going to talk about the past 6 years, I'll talk about now. What do I do when I'm burnt out? And, I am very, very disciplined in separating my roles, okay? So my roles are be a man of God, faithful and honor God and obey his commandments and be the best and grow myself and my human potential because that's what he wants for me. Second, I need to be a strong husband to Gabby and help her develop her strengths and her gifts. And then by doing that, that example is going to be a great way to parent my kids, is for them to see that example in that role. And then the third one is to build an incredible Beachbody business that continues to grow and thrive, and the vision of taking our team to 100,000 coaches in 5 years from now. So like I have that vision. Those are my 3 roles. That's it. So when I start to feel burnout, I have to look at my life and say, are there any activities I'm doing outside of these 3 roles that are causing more stress or taking time away from me? Because when you feel burnout, you're short on time, you're stressed about one thing or another. And so I have to look at these things, and is there an activity that I'm doing that's not aligning me with one of these 3 roles and purposes? For me, I played in a band. I loved music, but nowhere in my goal and my vision for my future was producing more albums, touring the world and leaving my family, none of those things. So I had to realize that although I loved that, and I love that feeling of playing in front of people, that it didn't take me towards one of those goals. It actually took away time from those 3 roles that I told you. So if I'm feeling stressed in one of those, I could be like, oh, I'm so stressed in this role of trying to build this business, or I'm so stressed in this role of trying to be a great father. I'm so stressed in this role of obeying the commandments and teaching the kids at school, at Sunday school on Sunday, which was one of my roles. But in the matter of fact, I may be stressed because I'm staying up late on Saturday night, getting home from the gig at 2 a.m. and got to get up to teach my role at church, right? So I had to get rid of and eliminate things that didn't align me with my purpose or my end goals. So that's the first thing, is eliminate things in your life that don't align with any of your purposes or don't move you towards becoming a better version of yourself in those purposes. So that's the number 1 thing. The second thing that I do, and I do this twice a week, and it's going to go right back to what David said, but I'm going to hit it on a different aspect, and then I'll end you guys there because I could talk for like 20 hours on this topic, is David talked about meditation and like visualization, like meditating, slowing down, looking at what you want in your future and whatnot. I'm going to take a break and talk about meditating and what I do and being present and happy with who you are today. So that's what I do. So guys, there's days like every night at 8 o'clock, 8:30, when I'm done putting the kids to bed, I unplug. I don't do, like right now, this is my schedule because I work my Beachbody business from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. is my kids. And then 8 p.m. to midnight is Gabby. So you see how I have those all separated. One thing that's going to avoid stress or burnout is not to do the Beachbody stuff during the kid time, or not to do the Beachbody during the Gabby time, during the spouse time. So separating the time. But one thing that I will do is I will put in a little bit of my extra God time or time with my wife and my kids in place of my business. And I'll tell you guys specifically why, because those 2 things come as top priorities over that third one. So they can come into there. But here's what I do. And it's going to seem cheesy. I know this show is for men, but I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to say it because it changes my life. So sometimes maybe some things are hard in business or something goes the way you don't want to go. I never react to it, first of all. That's going to eliminate stress. We could go on another tangent, but I'm going to stick to this part of meditation. Then I have the kids come home. I have to make sure that I'm present with them and not thinking about the business. But guys, by the end of the day sometimes, and you can relate to this, you go to work, maybe your boss is an a-hole to you. Maybe some of your employees were not doing what they should do, or maybe you had a bad customer experience, or whatever it is, or you messed up at your work and you're feeling bad, or you're feeling guilty that you messed an order up or shipped something wrong, or whatever it is you do in your role, or you made a mistake as a police officer that you should have done better. We can come home and beat ourselves up. And when we beat ourselves up, that causes stress. Okay. So guys, I make mistakes. I deal with things every single day. Just a small example, the other day, the pricing came out wrong for the UK and people are upset and stressed. And I never felt a single moment of that. So you want to know exactly what I did? I didn't dive myself into the stress of what everybody was feeling. So how did that would cause burnout. Stress causes burnout. I'm just going to say it like that. Stress equals burnout. So what did I do? I was with my dad. We were doing some things up in the mountains, winterizing the cabin. And guys, normally what I do when my dad is driving, I work. And I did work, but I avoided that situation. But at the cabin, he's like, I'm going to go fish. And I was like, man, I got to solve this problem. I sat in the cabin, pulled out my laptop and got ready to work. And I was like, you know what? No. Like right now, I need to become the best version of myself. And I grabbed a fishing pole and I walked out and I sat with my dad for 30 minutes doing something that I love. Right? And what did that do? I was able to come back. I was able to calm myself, think about the situation, gather the facts, gather the data, and come back and be able to teach and help people understand what happened. And then everything was good instead of diving in stressful. So that's one thing is fish. That's not embarrassing, guys. But fish, do something that you love. But what I do this about twice a week. This isn't just like when I feel burned out after 3 months, I do this. Like twice a week, I'll get to the end of the day and I'm feeling a little anxious. I got a lot to do, or the kids were acting up, and you know, I need to spend time with Gabby and I'm feeling anxious. What I do is I go in the bathroom, I fill the bathtub. I don't put bubbles in it. I fill the bathtub, I put some Epsom salt in there. I bring my laptop, I set it on the toilet seat there, and I have a 20-minute, it's just a Christ-based meditation. And I lay in there and like I shut out every thought that I have, and I go through this meditation and it walks you through it, and it's 20 minutes. And I walk through that. I visualize, like it has you like walking through the forest, like your feet sinking in the mud, the water pouring on your back from the waterfall. You can hear the sounds of the animals and whatnot. And instead of like David's meditation where you're visualizing the future and whatnot, I become very present, and it walks you through moments of gratitude. Like, what are you grateful for? When did you feel courageous? Like, when was the moment where you felt the most courageous? When did you feel the most loved and accepted? And it helps you remember and visualize those feelings. And I come out of there like the most peaceful person, and like no stress. Like I'm very happy, present, and grateful for who I am and where I'm at in my current situation. So like doing that avoids any stress. Like there'll be people that crush it, work hard, and then they get burnt out, and then they stop, or they're not performing at their highest level. I believe I can perform at that level because I do that thing. So to avoid burnout, David, to answer your question in a long way, is like I just slow down. Whether it's like laying in the bathtub or laying on your bed, you just gotta have no distractions. I know that if I'm in the bathtub and I lock the door, the 5 kids aren't gonna come in. So that's why I do it in there. Sometimes I think, okay, I'll go, like I've done it laying out on our trampoline in the backyard. I sneak out, the kids don't know where I'm at, and I set the laptop next to me, lay down, and I just visualize it. It just helps you become very present, very grateful in the moment. And burnout, I think burnout comes from thinking about poor choices you've made in the past. So you feel shameful or guilty about stuff you've done in the past, whether it's 30 years ago, 10 years ago, or last week. And another thing I think causes stress is thinking that you're not good enough or don't have enough time or to accomplish what you need to accomplish in the next week, or that you have too much going on in your life. And then that just helps me get centered and realize that I'm good enough, I'm doing enough, and I'm happy. Like I'm grateful for what I have and where I'm at in life. So Dave, there's your long answer.
I love it.
Burnout, that's what I do.
I love, and you know what, guys? I'm learning now too. You always have to be learning. And 2 big nuggets I took away, and I want you guys that are watching to realize. Number one is now both Scotty and I basically meditate, right? So that's number one. I want you guys to realize that. That's 2 guys that were working hard to try to meditate. And number 2 is we separate our roles, right? And I think that's huge. And I've learned this week that so often I'm trying to wear 3 different hats at the same time, and that causes burnout. So separating your roles, how Scotty explained that. Guys, that is a golden nugget that he just dropped, because so often we're constantly trying to do too many things at once, and our minds cannot handle that. 2 last quick questions that somebody commented. I'm going to answer them and then kick it back to Scotty to close out. I can give quick answers. Number 1 from Kyle was tips on changing your quote-unquote circle of influence and plugging away even when people say no. Kyle, that's a great question, and I always think that comes most often from coaches when they're first starting out, and their circle of influence of people is not the caliber, or not caliber, not the type of people they want to strive to be, right? And I think the answer to that is, number 1, and I've mentioned this before, and I've read it in a John Maxwell book, I don't remember which one, but he said early on when you're trying to be successful, your mentors are the authors and the books that you read. So you need to be doing personal development, because that's going to give you the mindset to be able to get through when you feel by yourself and take your business to the next level. Number 2 is getting to live events, especially Beachbody events, because it's going to surround you by like-minded people. And number 3 is attending events outside of Beachbody. Kristen, my wife, came back at another level caliber of a person that's impacted our marriage, impacted our family, things we're doing about setting our tensions every single morning, because she went to a live event and was surrounded by high-level people. So your circle of influence, you may not be able to choose it, but you 100% control on how you react and the things you can do each and every day. The next question to finish up with John tips on a strong marriage while working the business. John, great question. My number one thing with that is communication. You need to be communicating with your spouse, not while being interrupted, not when the kids are around, but you need to communicate with them what your goals, what your vision is, and ask them, how can I, in fact, go about doing this for our family, but give you 100% undivided support and make sure I'm in the fatherly role and husband role, which is the first priority, which is your family and your spouse. It means nothing if you have a wrecked marriage and a great business. Who cares? You need to have a good family and a good marriage. So you need to have communication. And if you go to the Coach Back office, last year, Kristen and I spoke at Coach Summit on a panel of spouses that have worked the business together and become successful, and how we did it with as a couple. And that, I believe, is still in the back office, or it's on YouTube, and to look there. So those are the two questions that I saw. Otherwise, if there's nothing else, Scotty, I'm going to kick it back to you. This is a great call. I learned, guys, a lot of golden nuggets. You just need to implement what, in fact, we share with you. Scotty, back to you, bro.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, David. One last thing that came to my mind on avoiding stress outside of the meditation, what David said, is write things down. Like, I was feeling stressed, anxious, burnt out, getting ready to, like, we're leaving to London tomorrow. We fly out tomorrow to London. And guys, the only reason is because I wasn't completely prepared. I was unsure and not unaware of where we were staying, how we would get from here to there, if we were going to do tours. So I had all of that burden on me of like, man, when I get there, I don't know exactly what we're doing other than going to these 4 cities. So we scheduled and time blocked and wrote it down. Like, I have this to-do list. I wrote a to-do list down. The minute I wrote a to-do list down, before I even like tackled the to-do list, the anxiety and the stress and the burnout feeling went away, because I knew that I had scheduled it and we planned everything. So plan things out. Don't just wing things and just hope that things work out. Make a couple plans. So David, thanks for sharing today. I know we both have a lot to do with our families today. I know time is valuable, so we appreciate you guys giving your time to us today. But guys, I don't want you just to listen to this. The only way that your life's going to change is to begin to apply it, and to begin to apply it right now. So to leave you guys today, we're going to tell you guys it's time to man up. We'll see you guys on the next episode. See you later. Peace.